Giving all glory and honor and praise to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh, Shah, by Hashem, Rakadash. Double honor to the elder apostles of Great Millstone who rule well in teaching this 100% truth. Shalom and salutations to the hopeful elect, beginning with 144,000. I'm your brother Magun Shalamar. The title of this video will be, He enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death cannot be satisfied. And this is no one, of course, other than Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, who set up to be the power on this earth and wicked, control this earth and rule this earth in wickedness. This is a quick video showing you just that. This is fair use, not for monetary gain, but for educational purpose only. Fair use.
As the U.S. ramps up pressure on the government of President Trump has ordered a total and complete blockade of sanctioned oil tankers entering and leaving Venezuela as the U.S. ramps up pressure on the government of Nicolas Maduro. The blockade comes amidst a major U.S. military buildup in the region and days after the U.S. seized an oil tanker filled with Venezuelan oil. In a post on Truth Social, Trump wrote, quote, Venezuela's completely surrounded by the largest armada ever assembled in the history of South America. It will only get bigger, and the shock to them will be like nothing they have ever seen before, unquote. Since September, the U.S. military has also carried out at least 25 airstrikes on alleged drug boats without offering evidence in the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific near Venezuela, killing at least 95 people. On Tuesday, Vanity Fair published excerpts of bombshell interviews with Trump's chief of staff, Susie Wiles, in which she suggested the aim of the boat strikes is to topple Maduro. Wiles said, quote, Trump wants to keep on blowing boats up until Maduro cries uncle, and people way smarter than me on that say that he will, unquote. On Tuesday, President Maduro denounced the U.S. actions.
We tell the people of the United States our truth, and it is very clear. Imperialism and the Nazi fascist right wing want to colonize Venezuela to take our wealth, oil, gas, gold, iron, aluminum, and other minerals. We have sworn to defend our homeland, and in Venezuela, peace will always prevail, along with stability and shared happiness for our people. To the people of the United States, we say again and again, 1,000 times.
No blood for oil. No war for oil. Eso del narcotráfico.
The claims about drug trafficking are fake news, a lie, an excuse. Since they cannot accuse us of weapons of mass destruction, chemical weapons, or nuclear missiles, they invent another pretext to create another Afghanistan, another Libya. And with moral authority and with God's blessing, I say,
no more Vietnam, no more Afghanistan, no more Libya, no more Iraq. No more war eternal. No, 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 no.
We know we are morally and spiritually in the right.
We're joined now by the Pulitzer Prize-winning historian, Yale University professor Greg Grandin. His latest book, America, A New History of the New World. He has a recent piece in the New York Times headlined, Trump's dated strategy is putting us on a path to World War III. Welcome back to...
Well, that's the path that the Lord is putting on this place, man. Yahweh is sending his only begotten son, Yahweh Shai, Hamashiach, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, to destroy this place called America, man. This place is on a mission to be destroyed. And this is what's happening in our seeing, in the physical time, in the spiritual realm. We know the angels are holding back the four winds, the destroying winds, which will be the nuclear destruction from the thermal missiles coming from the ICBM missiles. But the only reason why they haven't came yet is because the elect has to be sealed, and once that takes place, the MOTB comes out. We know it might be the micro C hip. It's over with. You know, the physical microchip that has to be placed in the right hand forehead of your body, that's the physical chip that's going to come upon the whole world, not just only in America, but the whole entire world. Small and great, rich or poor, free and bond. That's everybody, right? This is a physical thing. I know other camps out there, ISUPK, talking about, Captain Tazariak talking about you already in sin now. You already had the mark of the beast. He already had the mark of the beast. You can't say we, because we know what that mark of the beast is. We know it's the micro C hit, not no damn worshiping the so-called white man. That's not the mark. It's a physical mark, karax. You have to go into the Greek and find out what that word means, karagma. The karax is going to be the palisade that's going to insert a sharp instrument, which is, what is a sharp instrument they use to insert something underneath the skin? Is the needle, hypodermic needle. So, but yeah, that's what we're waiting on, man. We're waiting on the return of Yahweh Shai, and get this. But before then, the Jacob's trouble was going to amp up, and this is what we're saying now, because the New World Order is being pushed, and this devil is getting is full of wrath, because his time is short. This is Psalms 49, chapter 49, verse 11. Their inward thought is that their house shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. Right? Because that's what Esau does. Yahweh Shai is coming to establish his kingdom forever. Set up his righteousness, his righteous kingdom here on earth. But what they're saying, the so-called white man, Esau, Edom, is saying that their thoughts, they're not going to tell you, but their inward thoughts is that their house is going to continue forever. And their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own name. They call their lands after their own name because they take over everyone else's land, steal their identity. Especially the foremost, the ones they've done the most to is the Israelites, man. Yahweh's people, Yasha Allah. We're the prince of the power. They stole our identity. They is a nation with many faces, man, many masks on them. They took over other people's property, other people's land. They call the lands after their own name. They don't want you to know them as Esau, Edom. They don't want you to know. When we say the so-called white man, because he's not white, he's red because his blood shows forth through his skin. When his father saw him as a Ashashara, wasted away is he. He is wasted away because his blood shows forth through his skin as if he was, like he was dead, like he was in shock, didn't have no type of melanin in his skin. So yeah, they don't want you to know who they are. They hide, call themselves all other names: Canadian, European, Australian, South African, Russian, French, Spanish, all these other names. They don't chase the people, the true people out of their own land and took over the land and took over culture, take over cultures. Like they did in Magog. Chased them out and make the sea people, the Polynesian, took over their land, pushed them out. Took over Israelites' identity, called themselves that they're God's chosen people. And we're heathen, nothing but heathens. All these filthy names they call us: wetbacks, nigger, spicks, This is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 5. It says, yea, also because he transgressed by wine, he is a proud man. And that's talking about Esau, Edom. He transgressed by wine, and he's a very proud man. By his doctrine, everything he says is a lie. Everything his Christian doctrine that he pushed was nothing more than white supremacy. There wasn't no negotiation to take this land from the Indians or negotiated to buy this land from the Indians. They took it through blood and blood and war and killing and all types of stuff, man. Raping, all types of atrocities they do wherever they go. Neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell. He would never be satisfied. The hell is talking about the grave. The grave is never satisfied. There's always going to be room to bury somebody. There's always room. And as death, it cannot be satisfied. There's death. You can't stop death. That's death. That's everyday business. Every second there's someone dying. So the death in the grave is never filled, never satisfied. And that's the desire of the so-called white man, this devil, Esau, Edom. That's his desire. So nothing can stop him. This president of Venezuela, he's over there talking about no Iraq, no Libya. All he want. That's the Trump. Nero ain't listening to that, man. These people, these devils are not listening. They don't care how much you plead and get on TV and shoot your arrow, put your head garment on, and play the part as an Arawak Indian and all of that. That ain't gonna stop nothing, from these devils, man. Because it cannot be satisfied. Their desire cannot be satisfied. But gather unto him all nations, and heap unto him all people. And this is what that president over there in Venezuela was saying, that they want to come and take over the nation and take upon him all the people and steal their resources, whatever it takes. And he knows that, like he said, it's not going. They can't use the mass destruction lie like they did over in Iraq, to Saddam Hussein. So now they're trying to paint the picture of all of them being drug dealers, and that's and Trump just classified that as a he classified that as a war crime, pretty much. Because at the end of the day, this is what we look forward to. We look for Obadiah 1:18. It says, "And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame." Yeah, the house of Jacob, talking about the southern kingdom, and the house of Joseph a flame, a fire and a flame. Same. We're the same. That's one house of Israel. We're the whole house of Israel, the so-called blacks, Latino, Native American Indian. Makes up the 12 tribes of Israel. It's fire, flame, the same. And the house of Esau for stubble. So you got the flame coming from the Israelites, putting the flame, the fire onto Esau, and they're going to be a stubble, right? For a stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau. For the Lord Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shah, has spoken it. These words has been spoken, man. Esau is still on this earth today in power. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. But when they done their 1,000 years of hardcore slavery, turning big rocks to little rocks, and getting the same treatment, being beaten with the rod of iron, hardcore slavery. The same thing they done to us is gonna be double what they did to us, man. The atrocities they thought they done, they ain't gonna have. The Lord gonna put a spirit on us. It's not gonna be none compared to what they're gonna go through, and they can't get around this. Along with the rest of you nations too, the rest of you 16 nations out there, because there's total 18 nations on this earth, always will and always have been. But them 17 nations going into slavery, going into them chains, man. But Esau, Edom, is the son of perdition. He is not giving no mercy. And this is the mercy he's not going to get. He's not going to be spared. Why? Because he's the only nation that's going to be wiped out. And this is what we're reading. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for a stubble. Now let's go into that word stubble. Kash. That word is kash. It means stubble. It means a chaff, a straw, a dry straw, stubble. Now you put a hot flame. You got Jacob being as the fire, and Joseph being the flame. That's heat there, nothing but pure fire. And you put that fire on a dry straw, yo, that it won't even last a second. That's gonna be done away with quick. You're gonna be done away with quick. That's what's happened. That's what's gonna happen to Esau. The whole amount of Esau, right? It says, "And the house of Esau for a stubble, and they shall kindle in them." Let's go in the word kindle. It shall kindle in them. What that means when that fire shall kindle in that straw. Dalak. It says kindle. It means pursue, kindle, chase. Yeah, we're gonna chase and persecute you. We're gonna be the persecutors. And guess what? It's gonna be burning and inflamed. To burn, hotly pursue, kindle, to inflame. Down here is a Strong's definition for literally and figuratively. Flame, burning, chase, inflame, kindle, persecute, pursue hotly. Ain't gonna be no mercy, Esau. This is your heaven. This is your heaven now. So enjoy it. Enjoy your heaven now. This is the best it's gonna get. It ain't no going back. It ain't no bringing back America. It ain't no going back to the good old days when you was sitting in the shade tree drinking your lemonade. Them days is over with. So with that, I hope to edify. Call halal Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai by Hashem Kadash. Double honor to the elder apostle, great millstone who rule well. Abba.